Daz Studio enthusiasts. This is Not From This World, and I want to welcome you back to my tutorial series. Now today I want to talk a little bit about Daz Studio 2026. I've had several requests to do a tutorial just discussing it, and so today's the day. I have a lot of mixed feelings about the new Daz 2025 and Daz 2026, but I went ahead and downloaded it onto my computer. And interestingly, when I did this, it replaced Daz 2025 with Daz Studio 6, but it also gave me another copy that is completely separate. And so I don't know if that was supposed to happen or not, but that's what happened. Now, if I open up the Daz Studio 6 that replaced Daz 2025, I pretty much get what I had in Daz 2025, so I was in the process of uploading all of my third-party content. So I have all these external folders, and I was updating them. And the good news is, if you do this and you had Daz 2025, it looks like Daz 2026 just replaced it, and all of those file folders are still there. If I open up this new Daz Studio 6, it's a blank slate. So I would have to go in and add all my third-party content to that. So the big question on everyone's mind is, what is the benefits, upgrades, differences between Daz 2026 and Daz 4.24? Well, there are several things that are said to be improvements. Number one, it claims that our new Daz 2026 will have faster scene loading. And this is supposed to be one of the most noticeable things about the new Daz 2026. And it says instead of waiting for every texture to be uploaded, you can start working before the textures are done, which is kind of cool. But you get faster scene initialization, you get background textures loading, and you can work on your scene as it's loading. For me, that's not that big of a deal, but if you're into speed, that is a good thing. And I'm not so concerned about the scene loading time. I'm more concerned about things that are bogging Daz Studio down when I'm using it, such as the hair issue we talked about before. They need to get that kind of thing fixed. The second new feature in Daz 2026 are these viewports. And if you remember, if you click on this right here, you get these viewports. They are new. There are some new ones. We've got a universal viewport now. We've got a depth viewport, and they're kind of cool, actually. I think I'm going to make a separate tutorial on these, but essentially what you can do is if you select the universal viewport, you can select different items in your scene with different viewports. So for example, I could take Milica and make her a texture while I have the pool as a wireframe. And that's pretty cool, actually, because it can help us with things like poke through and positioning props, aligning clothing, that kind of thing. The depth is interesting. I was kind of playing with it. What it's supposed to show us is depth of field. So things that are closer are lighter in color. Things that are further away are darker in color. And that's interesting. I'm not sure how I would use that so much, but it's kind of cool. So I will talk more about these viewports in a future tutorial because I think they need more attention, but that's kind of a cool thing. The third upgrade, of course, is the GPU. So Daz Studio 2025 and 2026 Probably the biggest thing that you all know about its advantage is it can run those 5000 series GPUs. My Daz Studio 4.24 can't do that. I have a 4070 Ti Super and that runs just fine, but if I were to upgrade to my 5000 series GPU, I would have to render on Daz Studio 2026. Now, what's cool is I have heard some of you mention that you can work in Daz Studio 4.24 and then move your scene over if you have everything copied, all of your assets, all of your props, everything's the same. You can move from Daz 4.24 over to Daz 2026 and then render. And so that is an advantage. That's probably the biggest bonus to our new Daz Studio 2026 is that GPU and how it can utilize Iray in the 5000 series NVIDIA GPUs. Now with number 4, there is supposedly an update in the Iray rendering of Daz 2026. So there's a new version of Iray in 2026 that's supposed to be better. It includes adaptive displacement and subdivisions as it renders, and the performance of Daz 2026 in rendering is supposed to be better. Now, I haven't really tested this, and maybe that could be another tutorial for the future, is trying to test between Daz 4.24 rendering speeds and performance versus Daz 2026. All right, the 5th big change is supposed to be the content library organization. They are boasting that the Daz 2026 has a better organization of the content library. And maybe if we are just buying nothing but Daz Studio products, and I don't use this smart content, I've got to admit, I just don't use it. But it is kind of cool that I can select people and get a list of all the products that I own. That's pretty cool. I just don't use it too much. I just use the content library, and I have made my own folders. So for example, for my Genesis 8 female figures, I have my own folders that I have organized. So this doesn't really affect me a whole lot, but you're supposed to be able to hide products or assets better. You can make custom labels. You can make multiple content library views at the same time. It's supposed to have better smart content. Like I said, I don't really use that too much. And it's supposed to have an improved compatible content discovery. So your searches are supposed to be better. And it's true, it might speed up workflow as you get better with Daz 2026. Number 6 with Daz 2026 is it has an improved strand-based hair editing. And I've got to admit, hey, if you want to show me how to do this, that's great. I actually have never done anything with this, but it says that you can now edit the hair directly into Daz Studio with 2026. You can edit the strand-based hair without leaving the scene. It has immediate feedback for you and better integration with the rest of the workflow. I don't really know anything about this. I'm not an expert. I just play around with this program and make money with it. So I'm learning all the time too. So I'd really like to know more about strand-based hair. If this is something that I should be looking at more. I know with posing hair and things like that, it's one of the big challenges of Daz Studio. So let me know about that. But this is supposed to be better. All right, number 7 on our list of Daz 2026 is it now has a built-in Victoria AI search engine. So this can answer questions, explain tools, help troubleshoot any problems that you have, suggest workflows and how you can improve your proficiency, and then provide product information and help. Now, I haven't really tried this, but all you have to do is go to the help button, go to home, and then click AI chat, hit OK, and then it opens up this Victoria AI where you can type in questions. I don't know how well this works, but this is a cool addition that may be an asset when you run into problems. And I'm going to have to play with this a little bit and see when I come up with an issue, if this can help me. But it's kind of a cool thing that Daz is trying to do, which is that troubleshooting aspect with AI. And we all know that AI is doing nothing but improving every month. It's better. So this should be kind of a cool addition to our Daz workflow. Now, some of the things have changed. They've actually removed a few things. They've removed 3Delight rendering options. So if you go into your render settings, you will no longer find the 3Delight. So that's gone, as well as our render albums. So there are no render albums anymore. There's some other things that have changed as well, but those are the two big ones that I noticed. And of course, we've got this plugin compatibility problem. So scripts and previous products that you may be using in Daz 4.24 are not going to work in Daz 2026. Now, once I had Daz 2026 open and a scene actually ready to go, of course, the first thing I did was go and look at my tools. And there's, of course, no mesh grabber, which I use all the time in Daz 4.24. And of course, there is no render queue. And I use render queue almost every day in Daz Studio 4.24. So to me, right away, that's a deal breaker. I cannot use Daz 2026 without these scripts. I'm sorry, I can't do it. I will continue to use Daz 4.24 until it's so obsolete I can't use it anymore, or until they take Daz 2026 and let me transfer those scripts over. I paid for them. They're mine. I should be able to use them. I shouldn't have to get a Premiere account to use those assets. And maybe I'm old school right now, but Daz 4.24 completely works for everything I need, and so I'm not going to change. So honestly, I don't know if this is a review or just kind of a beatdown of Daz 2026, but I'm going to stick with Daz 4.24 for now and kind of play around with Daz 2026. All right, everyone. This might be a little bit longer video than some of my other ones, but I hope this helped. And I really want to hear your comments on what you think about Daz 2026. Should everyone be switching over? Should we stick with Daz 4.24? What are your opinions about it? What have you noticed that's different? What are improvements? What are disadvantages? I'd really like to know. Let's fill the comments with helpful insights to this Daz question. I know at some point they're going to want all of us to move over to Daz 2026. So all the information that we can gather in one place so that people can use it, utilize it, and get information is what's most important to me. So like, subscribe if you haven't done that. Please comment. Let me know what you think. And until next time, keep rendering and have a great day.